This video is sponsored by Kempower. In this video, we're gonna find out how much range the new Skoda Elroq RS has going at a constant 120 kph or 75 miles an hour. We'll also be doing noise test measurements to see how quiet the Elroq is at speed, as well as testing how accurate the route planner is now that it is cold outside. All of this and more will be explored in today's video. There is an annoying rattle from somewhere up front here in the dashboard. It's not that apparent going 120 kilometers an hour, but at lower speeds it is very, very annoying. I'm going to talk more about that at the end of the video when we go through the noise test measurements we have done with this car today. So we're back in a Skoda, this time the Elroq RS, and the model we have here today is a fully spec'd out model, even with this optional green paint color. I think the value proposition here, considering the package and considering the only thing you are really giving up towards an Enyaq is the trunk space. It's about 100 liters smaller, and I think at around 15,000 euros cheaper, spec for spec, this is a very interesting car. But there's one thing that we're measuring in today's video, and that is the efficiency, because this body shape has a drag coefficient of 0.26 CD, where the Enyaq Coupe has 0.225 CD, which is quite a bit lower. And today's conditions is also not the best. We just ran a triple range test between the Enyaq Coupe, the Tesla Model Y, and also the G6 from XPeng. I'm going to link that video down below if you want to see how those three cars compare against each other. But the conditions we had that day were a lot warmer, even though that was quite cold comparatively to the weather we had up until that point in time. Now it's minus 60 degrees Celsius. We've had as cold as minus 9 today, so not the best day to run a range test. But for those of you who want to know how this car fares when it is really cold, yeah, today is the day to do it. And before you go into comments saying, yeah, where you live it's like minus 20, minus 30, well, it may well be that cold, but we're in November. This is cold for November. And also, there are not a lot of places that are a lot colder than this, where they are major, population centers. So yeah, you may live in a place where it hits like minus 20, minus 30, but this isn't wind chill. This is like the ambient temperature outside. If it's blowing, it's even colder. And also, if you're new here, my name is Chris, and on this channel we do EV content only. I do range tests like this, long trip tests and reviews, and I cover new car launches. So if you want to support the channel, it is completely free to hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it, because more than 80% of you aren't subscribed. So thanks a lot for all the support, guys. So with that being said, this is pretty much the same as the Enyaq Coupe to drive. I prefer this interior, which has the microfiber surfaces and also this green contrast stitching. But in every other way, like the suspension tuning, the way it steers, how well travel assist, the auto steer, pilot functionality that Skoda have, is one of the best, if not the best, in this class of vehicle. After about half an hour on the road now, our average consumption is hovering at around 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is a little bit high, but again, it is cold today. Kempower satellites are designed to provide a premium EV charging user experience, equipped with an easy-to-use cable support system, making it optimal for tight spaces. When you roll up to a Kempower charging station, you don't have to think about connecting to a charger that delivers the correct speed for your car. The Kempower load balancing chargers will automatically allocate the correct power to your car, maximizing the efficiency of the charging station, ensuring that all cars can charge as fast as possible. For more information, check the link down below. A huge thanks to my friends at Kempower for sponsoring this video. The way this just goes down a stretch of road with the adaptive suspension, these sports seats, they're firm but also comfortable at the same time. The seating position here, the adjustability in the seat and the steering wheel, even this car which lacks adjustable thigh support, for me, It is more than supportive enough because the seat base is actually pretty long. Yeah, there's very little to fault about the way this drives on the motorway. We're now approaching the halfway point and the consumption is now down to 23.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So when we set off, the car predicted we'd arrive here with 53% state of charge, but we're actually here with 50% state of charge, which is 3% less than what the car predicted. But we do have a headwind, a very weak headwind, so maybe that does affect the prediction here. We'll have to see once we, get back to where we started, because that may, even out just a little bit. So we're gonna enter the motorway here now. We're gonna head south back towards where we started, and yeah, we're gonna see how much range this car gets at 120 kilometers an hour. I'm not sure what Google Maps is doing. It wants us to go to the next exit and then turn around, even though this is our exit. That makes no sense at all. Yeah, that is really weird. So timer stopped now, 1 hour and 41 minutes. And we're gonna go to a charger now. We're gonna connect, and then we're gonna see what charge speed we get without preconditioning the battery. We don't do that in this test. This test is all about getting, that maximum efficiency, lowest consumption, and that means not using any energy to heat up the battery. So what's cool about this and the Enyaq is that you can actually precondition the battery manually if you choose so. This is the charge speed you're gonna get now if we connect 138 kilowatts, but if you press this button, it will take 27 minutes and then we can reach 169 kilowatts. Or you can just, use the navigation system, the built-in route planner, and the car will do it automatically. But sometimes maybe you want to use a different route planner, maybe you want to use Apple Maps or Google Maps, and then having the choice to do this manually is a very welcome thing. So before we pop out, we're here with 17% stated charge. The car predicted we'd arrive here with 23, so that is -6. That is not, not good at all. Okay, so we've now started the charger. We've connected. The charge port on the Enyaq is on the rear 3/4 on the passenger side, and this is a 350 kilowatt charger. The car should peak at 185 kilowatts in this RS version, so we're good to go. Okay, we are now going 17% stated charge. To get that peak charge speed, of course, we have to be at a lower state of charge and have a preconditioned battery. So 132, 133 is a little bit lower than what the car actually told us at 138. Before we go through the results of the range test, let's take a look at the noise test measurement. So at every speed, we do at least 2 measurements over 2 minutes each, and I have proper equipment. I have a proper calibrated microphone that's made to measure noise. I also have my laptop and software to do this. So, we do proper testing here on the channel. So at 80 kilometers an hour, those measurements we did averaged out to 63.5 decibels. At 100 kilometers an hour, those measurements we did averaged out to 65.25 decibels. And at 120 kilometers an hour, all measurements we did averaged out to 68.0 decibels. And if you look at the test we did with this Elroq this summer, not this car, but a different Elroq on summer wheels, that had a lot more noise, 2 to 3 decibels more at every speed. And that is because winter tires, especially studless winter tires, are softer than summer compounds and just give off less noise and vibration. It is as simple as that. So I think the results today, though I think, tire noise is quite apparent, and depending on the surface, it can be high or low or loud or quiet. I think there are other cars at this price point that have less noise. So let's take a look at the results of the range test. So we had an average consumption today of 24.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So when we take the usable battery capacity of this car, 79 kilowatt hours usable, and divide it by the consumption, and then subtract 3% for heat and discharging losses, that gives us a theoretical range today of 315 kilometers, which if you saw our triple range test of the Enyaq Coupe RS, the Model Y, and also the Xpeng G6, this is quite a bit lower than what we got with that Enyaq. And there are two reasons for that. So this car, same wheels and tires, the exact same tire actually, different wheel design, but I don't think that's gonna affect the range too much. But this shape, though it is shorter by quite a bit, and this is a lighter car, because it's shorter and because it's not, a teardrop shape, it has a higher drag coefficient of 0.26 CD versus the 0.225 of that Enyaq coupe. And that outweighs, the weight penalty of this car quite substantially. That is very interesting. Aerodynamics, especially in EVs, does mean a lot. And also today, it was -5 to 3 degrees Celsius when we run at 120 kilometers an hour versus +5 to 7 degrees Celsius. So between 10 and 12 degrees colder. That means we're running the AC, though it's set to 21 degrees Celsius, is working harder. And also the heated steering wheel was on at its lowest setting for me for the whole trip because it is cold outside, even though I'm wearing my jacket, a sweater, and also wool underwear, both beneath my pants and my sweater. So I'm, clothed for this type of temperature. But it just goes to say that, lower temperature really does affect the range, especially at these high speeds, quite a bit, or at least noticeably. This car also has a heat pump for those who are wondering. So let me know what you think of the results in the comment section down below, because I'm curious to know what you think of the cold results we got today. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.